Hello and welcome to the Blue Tweezers channel with me, your host Alan. How are you doing, everybody? Just having a little chat here, and hopefully we'll have some input from across the internet into what we're doing. I'm just going to send out a few messages to gather the forces and see who we've got to have a chat with. So send these things off. Hopefully I'll be able to give you a bit of an update on what I've been doing and not doing, and I will go through all that stuff, and as is the title, well, the subtitle of this chat is "What do you play?" So let me know what you're doing as well, and if I've played it before, might shove an opinion at you, and if I haven't, I might shove a question at you. We've already got a pre-chat from Charles Satura. Thanks, Charles, about what he's been doing. He's currently being grandpa, which doesn't sound like much of a game, and doing the school run. But he's working on GMT's Utah Springs, which is the Great Battles in the Revolutionary War, American Revolution, I think it is, yeah, of which I've got the tri-pack up. Well, it was up there, somewhere around, and with Saratoga and Brandywine, etc. Not one of my favourites, I must admit. But we'll talk a bit more about that. And Michael, good evening to you. Thanks for popping in. And Chris, good old Ridders is in. Marvellous. Thanks very much. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, the OSG game tomorrow. So scheduling this week has been a bit tricky, as usually I do a live stream in the middle of the week with my standard opponent, Jordan McMullen from Ohio, and we've been doing various holiday things, so we haven't synced up, and I thought we weren't going to sync up this week either, because he couldn't do today, and he's just tomorrow, and I couldn't do tomorrow. So I thought, well, today I'll just do my Wargaming chat instead, and it's as it turns out, I am free tomorrow. So then we sort of hurriedly worked out what we were doing, and the result is yes. We've got an OSG Library of Napoleonic Battles go at the Battle of Shevardino from Russia, 1812, and I've got a little bit up here about it, so give a little bit of a prequel to it. Yeah, and what I know about that system as well, which is a bit, but possibly quite out of date, really. Yeah, Michael, a grandfather is an earnest job. Yes, indeed. One thing that happened last weekend was, the weekend before last, was that I got a call from my nephew who just got married, and him and his wife are expecting twins. So I'm going to be a great uncle for the first time. So not quite a grandfather, but a great uncle. Which, being my way, I immediately truncated. So I told him I'm going to be known as a grunkle, which was much mirth was had, probably on just to humour me. But yeah, so we should get twin arrivals in February, I think, is the estimate. So we'll see what happens there as well. But yeah, being a grandfather, earnest job, yeah, just like being a dad, I suppose. Well, there's slightly less responsibility, which more fun, I think, and less responsibility. But anyway, yeah. So all these family matters. I haven't been doing a huge amount of output since the last Wargame chat, mainly because I actually went on holiday, and I was actually on holiday when I heard the news about the Grunkle stuff. So I was actually took a flight to Spain, would you believe, from the UK. A very intrepid adventure these days, of course. Hi JBX, boys and girls, don't know at the moment. Either not telling us or they don't know. So we didn't get a Bulgaria. Well, yeah, yeah, they wearing the little round glasses. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, feel like a bit of a womble these days, being working from home and all that kind of stuff, like a lot of us are. See a little bit just going out and doing some tidying up and then coming back in almost underground. Yeah, cheers, Charles. Thanks. Yeah, well, looking forward to it for next year because my birthday's around that time, so it'll be a bit of a birthday present. Yeah, so I've been on holiday to Spain for a few days. My other half's from there over to Barcelona. You may have seen if you're on my Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, I did posted a couple of pictures. We went to the Barcelona the Catalonian National Art Gallery in Barcelona. Big palatial place, which was never a palace. It was built for an expo to look like a palace. And yeah, we walked into, art galleries. I quite like art galleries, but take them or leave them. And just walked into their main area, their main room called the Oval Chamber, and there was a Soviet SB bomber from the Spanish Civil War, nose on, right, literally pointing downwards with about that much above the floor, suspended from the ceiling. And then to one side there was an I-16 Mosca. So have a look on Twitter of those pictures. I took a few pictures of it, but that was a quite a nice turn up for a wargamer to see those guys in an art gallery. It was they were doing a temporary exhibition. There's an airfield which was created by the Republicans during the Spanish Civil War, and then it was taken over by the nationalists when they took over the southern part of Catalonia. And there was just a few displays around about it. Interesting enough, of course, the aircraft that were actually there were Republican aircraft, but actually all the pictures and stuff were based from photographs from a member of the Condor Legion, German person. They didn't elaborate, and so there were a lot of nationalist photos in the displays, along with the odd portrait of a Republican flyer. But anyway, that was sort of a holiday. We were there for a few days. Did all the paperwork for all the COVID stuff, and came back. And actually, because we'd done the paperwork and everything, it was fairly straightforward. So looks like travel is not as bad as we think. So yeah, Chris, you saw him, brilliant. Okay, JBX, there could be one of each, and yeah, that would probably be a good. That would be a good thing if there was one of each, but who knows? We don't know. Peter, welcome. Yeah, you're not playing anything right now. Well, that's just not good enough, I'm afraid. You you got to try harder here. Mistral by Red Sash Games. Don't know that one. I'll have to look that up. Tell us about it in the chat if you'd like. But no, I haven't heard of that. Mistral is kind of it's a wind phenomenon in France, isn't it? I think usually. But anyway, do tell us about it. So we've only just got back, recently, and the only thing we've really been doing, and as I said, the midweek I haven't been doing anything because Jordan and I couldn't sync up, and so we ended up just with the Rough and Blue special we've been doing, including ID Jester and at least once Tony from Tony's Board Life, all the guys from the War Room on ID Jester's channel, just doing the co-op a Fields of Fire, the Vietnam version, and we're having a lot of fun. I don't think we're doing very well. I don't know if you saw the last live stream, but towards the end, we had Jester order one of his squads to throw a grenade at a a squad that just appeared out of a spider hole onto the same card, and it landed correctly. But when you throw a grenade at your opponent, as long as they're in good order, get to throw one back. They threw one back and missed, and then slightly amusingly, although a bit tragically, I suppose, the VC squad then skedaddled to another card, where it was actually thumped quite badly. But that grenade miss, which was affects the entire card with a shot, not a very powerful one, didn't really affect everybody except for the Jester's platoon HQ, and actually killed the platoon commander on that card. So his original order for grenade throwing, the only effect it had was actually to kill the commander who issued the command. So there we go. Bryn, great to see you. Thanks for joining. So yeah, have a look at that if you haven't looked at that. That's towards the end. So we do well, and then something goes wrong in those live streams. And we're almost to the end of the scenario. I think it's we're on to turn 8. I think it is out of 10. So and we're almost to the victory conditions as well. So it's positive, but not as positive as you'd think, given the situation. There's been a few casualties and a lot of frustrations as well, which is the Vietnam version. All the end up. Fleshwood, no, it was KI. Well, he's a casualty, absolutely. No, he is a casualty. The platoon commander, so he's going to have to get either the XO, the first sergeant, or the CA down there to sort them out and promote somebody to take over the platoon next turn, while all the men wonder what the hell to do. But anyway, that's pretty much the most of what I've been doing on the channel. So tomorrow we've got the Library of Napoleonic Battles Shevardino. It's going to happen. And we're continuing that as well, and of course we've got the Wargame chat here. I don't know if any of you picked up, I did do a solo live stream on GMT's Pericles. I got through, I can't remember how far I got through the game. I think it was halfway through one turn, I think, of a 2-turn game. I will get back to that. However, what it did prompted me to actually is to get involved in a vassal game with 3 other people. You know, I've got a few vassal games. I've been through it, and yeah, we've just started a Pericles. I suppose it's the campaign game. I can't remember what the campaign's called, but yeah, it's the full cadaddle. We're all a bit new on it, so we're all a little bit struggling, but getting there. So we'll go through that in a little bit. Mistral, yeah, strategic operational Western Med naval action. Oh, 1740 to 1748, War of Austrian Succession. Okay, don't have anything on War of Austrian Succession there, to be honest. Yeah, it's not one I've done a lot on. I know Compass did a sort of, was it CDG kind of game on it, but I haven't got it, and I've kind of gone off CDGs mostly anyway. So, but no, I haven't not game wise gone anywhere near that period in the past at all. So that's the naval version of a land wars version as well. Okay, strategic operational. Okay, that'll be interesting. Might have a little route around and see what I can see on that, but thanks for telling us. And Deck, hi, thanks for joining us to have a bit of a chat. Too hot for gaming today. Actually, yeah, to be honest, I've got a well, I did have a fan on. I'm just going to, there you see, little fan. Was my mother's actually, and just had that blasting into my face before the stream. I've turned it off because it'll probably make the stream sound like I'm in the inside of an aircraft engine or something like that with it on. As a result, it's actually the temperatures are climbing in here. It's been quite a warm day today as well. Last couple of days, in the UK, the weather's been pretty universally bad this summer, so it's welcome. But when the weather's bad, but you get a hot day, the the moisture doesn't disappear. It just sort of sits there, and you end up very sticky and very humid, and that's what we've got at the moment. And so while I'm talking, I'll be slowly melting. Hopefully it won't look too bad on the screen while I do that. Anyway, yes. Yeah, JBX. I've never heard of Red Sash Games either. I wonder where they're from. Are they European? Kind of sounds like a European game, but 30 degrees in Cheltenham. Yeah, it was about that today. Yeah, Cheltenham's a little bit far from me. It's over to very close to where my daughter lives, actually. Over in the west of the country. I'm more sort of south central rather than southwest. That's what Cheltenham is, across towards the Welsh border. So, but it's not this isn't a big country, so we don't get a huge amount of. Well, we actually do get quite a difference in temperature. It's a bit of a mad country for weather. As I would say, the main reason for the British Empire was lots and lots of people in this country just getting fed up of being here and fed up with the weather, so they just went somewhere else and did stuff and stayed there because the weather was better, or at least a bit more consistent. So I kind of blame the blame the weather for the British Empire. That's my theory anyway. I'm sticking to it. Canadian. Okay. Right. Print on demand. Okay, and PDF. Yeah. Print and play stuff. Okie doke. Don't do a lot of that. Don't do a lot of print and play. I kind of like to, I don't know, like to get the components and, open a box and, have the stuff there and the cardboard and, producing it myself, I don't know. I feel a bit, it's usually a lot lower cost, but I feel a little bit cheated, actually. It just doesn't seem like a game to me. It seems it's almost like a sort of role-playing session where you got getting the writing the things and got the pieces of paper and stuff like that. I don't know. It just doesn't go. It just doesn't work with me, I think. Dutch coast is humid. Yeah, humid. Yes, yeah, sure, indeed. Denby and Pew. So is that Denby and Pew? Is that a Compass one, Worthington one, or some? No, Legion. Is it Denby and Pew? Some one of those companies. I was looking at that actually. It's very very highly recommended, and I've never done anything on DNP and Pew at all. So I kind of had that at the back of my head for something to do anyway. Oh, okay. So it was a box version of that. Right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it might be worth looking at because I've never heard of them before. This is a lot of guys in the chat have heard of them before either. So interesting. Canadian. Well, there you go. They were springing up all over the place. Game companies are. There's loads of them these days, which is a great thing. It's a really good thing. Really good thing. Although most of the stuff I do on my channel, admittedly, is GMT, and most of the stuff behind me is GMT, I'm afraid, but I've got little bits of, some of the old SPI Avalon Hill stuff, and one of my shelves has got my MMP Gamer stuff. But yeah, it is mostly GMT. Just so easy to buy from them, and they're always pretty good. Well, mostly pretty good games, indeed. Right. Chris, no more than 70 miles from the coast. You have 3 types of weather. Yeah, but there's quite a variation between east and west and north and south. Kent's nothing like north of Scotland, and sort of Wales is very different to East Anglia. So it's a bit of a mess over here. You can't guarantee anything. What do you also? Absolute War. That was who was talking about that? I think it was Rough Swordsman Wargamer had done something with Absolute War. I know of it, but I don't know anything about it. So Patrick, good to see you. Fire in the Lake, face to face. Well, is that with all 4? all for it. When you get rid of the bots, it's a brilliant game. I think the bots is a little bit too hard work. I struggle with it, to be honest, with the bots. I'm trying to do it solo or with only 2 people or something like that. Brain melting, yeah, yeah. I suppose it is. It's just that decision of exactly what you're going to do. You've got that card in front of you with your 4. Your standard coin thing. Your 4 operations, 4 special actions, 3 special actions, whatever it is. What the hell are you going to do, and how are you going to manipulate the cards? You know, do you do something now? Do you wait to see the turn of the card to see if there's something else, something better coming along? Which, if you do something, you're then going to miss because the activation sequence. So yeah, it is. Like most con games, it can be quite stressful as well. Yeah, the Legion. Legion War Games. Yeah, I think that's the NPMP one. Yeah, which I think is fairly highly rated. Have I done Nevsky yet? Nevsky, interesting. Bit of a story with that. So, in the back of my mind, for a little while now, I've been doing a research on possibly doing a War of the Roses game, but less on the battles. Including the battles, but more on the politics of the whole thing. And I think it was it SD History Con, a virtual con. There's a guy, Francisco Gridai, I think, from Spain, who's doing a War of the Roses version of Nevsky. So I was like really interested in stuff, and so he was doing a demo, and in prep for that, Volko, the guy who did Nevsky, was doing a run through of Nevsky, and so I thought I'd join that, and I joined it and I had a look, and yeah, it didn't click with me. Actually, it didn't click with me, really. I did have the Spanish one, Amoravid, on P500, but I've actually, as a result of that, I actually took myself off the P500. So yeah, I don't know. It just didn't light me up, to be honest. It just didn't enthuse me. So there you go with Nevsky. So I probably won't be Nevskying at all, or possibly that series. I did see the War of the Roses, the sort of playtest version, etc. It's very Nevsky. It does the Nevsky kind of thing, and it's interesting. It's kind of like several scenarios, a bit like Nevsky, where with the different leaders and the slightly different situations. But I'm more interested in the sort of overall thing. So I haven't followed that up. But that's just me. It's just personal taste on Nevsky. I should like it, and it just hasn't gone with me. Charles, yeah, the Lost Valley. That's another DNPNP game. Yes. I can't remember which one is the sort of really highly rated one now. Whether it's the White Dog or the Legion. I thought it was the Legion, but I don't know. Yeah. Chris, yeah. Offer you dinner. Brilliant. And I'll see you tomorrow for the Battle of Shevardino. It's going to be learning, so it's going to be a bit slow, I'm afraid. But but we'll go through that later. What's for dinner? I had Thai this evening. Well, there you go. Hey, Magnus is here. Brilliant. Yeah, hello, mate. You all right? Good. Yeah, let us know what you've been playing. Sisu. Oh, that's a red sash as well. Okay. Squadron company level, Finns, Russians, Germans. Oh, right. Susari Island. Okay. That must be presumably off the coast. That's quite. That sounds like really interesting. Yeah, I mean, have you played the sort of Red Winter stuff? How does that compare with something like Red Winter, which is company? Is it company level? I think it's company level. Red Winter. Let me know if you've played the two. But that's interesting. So if it's an island, there's a little bit of naval stuff involved in there, maybe. Sisu, of course. Yeah, Sisu. I always got that from Squad Leader, wasn't it? With the fins there. It's the what was it? The bravery, or the steadiness under fire. But you know, interesting. Yeah, the Legion one is known to be very, very good. So yeah, I have thought about that one. Haven't got it yet, but I may well go for that. But as usual, of course, I've got loads of things in the pipeline. Speaking of which, I didn't think I would have anything new to show in this chat. Actually, when I did put it up yesterday on the channel, scheduled it yesterday. As it happened today, this morning, bell goes, package for me, Second Chance Games, the UK, very good UK retailer, and it was. I've got it here. Just got the box. I have opened the box. Hope you can see this. Lots of the Whatsits, the white Whatsits in the box. But what do we have? So what we have is, and I'm actually waiting for quite a few things from Second Chance Games. So waiting for my copy of Panzer's Last Stand. It's the BCS MMP, Hungary, latest BCS. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for my GMT sales stuff as well. But this isn't this. This is Kickstarter. And probably a lot of you have got this already, because I'm always last to get these things. But I ended up with the David Thompson game, Postmen in Soldiers' Uniforms. Soldiers in Postmen's Uniform. I always get the wrong way around. Do you get that way? It's Soldiers in Postmen's Uniforms, but there we go. That's come through. Now, interestingly enough, on the Kickstarter, I said, right, I don't have any of these games. Well, that's not true. I do have Pavlov's House on Steam, so it's the computerized version, which I do a few bits and pieces on with. I must admit, I haven't preferred a video version of a game that's come out of a board game yet. The only one I prefer is Terraforming Mars. But anyway, I ordered this. I haven't got any of the other games. So there was a special offer on, and you could actually buy all three of the series. So that's this one, that's Pavlov's House, and there's Castle Itter. So in the same box, we also get, and I haven't really looked very much into this game at all. I got Castle Itter as well. So that's the two come in. Now, you may well say, right, I ordered three. And initially I went, oh, where's the third one? But then I checked back on my Kickstarter. Let's get rid of the box. And I got Kickstarter and said, well, actually, Pavlov's House, they haven't produced yet, the next edition. So let's hold them up so you can see them both. Otherwise they're just stuck in the corner of the screen. And as soon as that's ready, they're going to send it on. So it is coming. It just won't be with the other two. So very much like if you saw the last Wargame chat, which was very impromptu, less impromptu than this, but this is also not exactly the most organised thing in the world. I did actually impromptu unboxing of Navajo Wars, which I had in shrink wrap probably for about 2 years on my shelf. It was kind of like a extra shameful shelf, if you like, and I unboxed that. Still haven't done anything with it, but there you go. It's not through I don't like the game. I think it's probably going to be great, but I just haven't got to it. So we'll just see if we can get into this is the Castle Eater, which has been around for a long time. I fully understand. So you've probably all seen it as well. So I'm going to just bore you with this. But hey, it arrived today. I'm interested in it. So there you go. My channel, my rules. Let's see what we have here. So I'm trying to continue my concept of trying to remove the shrink wrap from the back of the box, but not from the front. So it kind of preserves the shrink wrap over the front cover when it's possible. Sometimes it doesn't go out really that well. Jester, oh, good to see you, mate. Good to see you, mate. Yeah, just been talking about your second platoon HQ a little bit early. You missed. Let everybody know the slight embarrassment with the incident with the grenade. Enough said. Enough said. Yeah, just going through another unprompted boxing here. So this is Castle Eater. I've got it with soldiers in postman's uniform. Yeah, got it right way around. It's not postman and soldiers. Yeah, soldiers in postman's uniform. And got Ita with it. So this is the rule book. Again, sorry, it's not a very professional unboxing, but it's not exactly a new game either. But let's say my rules. We've got the board here, which no matter which way I open it, always comes out with the black bit, the underside. Here we go. Not sure if any of you are aware of the ancient art of map folding, wargame map folding. I'm not sure quite what it's called, but I'm bloody useless at it. Okay, and counter sheets, which are of course fairly straightforward in this series. These are your soldiers here. I recognise that from playing Pavlov's House. And what else have we got here? We've got some player aids here. Defender attributes, SS cards, explanation, defender actions. Just one-sided, each of those. 5d6, white ones, pretty boring. Some cubes, little wooden cubes, as usual, lots of grey ones. I presume that's maybe the Germans, I don't know. And 2 decks of cards, which seem to be the kind of escalated. There's tactics here. I won't open them for the moment. It'll just make the whole place messy, and it's already messy. You know. Interesting. I don't know if any of you are in on the Discord channel for content creators and stuff, but people have been posting their workspace area, and I haven't, because it's an absolute tip. So it's just sitting there. You see these photos come up, and it's just pristine. It's like you're in an office, you know. It's like an office desk, and you're going, yeah, right, okay. That's just not me. Bit of shrink wrap to throw away, and we got the soldiers in postman's uniform. Let's see if I can do the trick with the shrink wrap again. Trying to do this every time now, so well, this seems to be going quite well, so that'll be good. Interesting story, this, of course. I did know of the sort of Danzig resistance. There was a good account. I don't know if it was the old William Shirer book, sort of Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, which I think had a decent account of it, of what went on in Danzig. But I don't remember being a lot of focus on the post office. It may have been, it was a long time since I read that, but I read that book. I think I might be still being at school, which was last century. So forgive me for, managed to do the same thing with the box. For possibly not remembering. But we have playbook. Here we go. Same kind of format, I suppose. What is it? 29, 33 pages with a few variants in the last couple of pages. The board, again, my Wargaming origami knackered army, I think I call it. It knackers your army, arms out. You know, it's like kind of, yeah. The map's actually winning that. This way, there you go. There it goes. Hopefully you can still hear me. and maybe even see some part of me, but that's the map. That's the best I can do with the space I've got for an unboxing. You just have to live with it. And counters again. Got quite a lot more of the soldiers in postman's uniform. Got it right, yes. Then we had in Ita seemed to have less in there, but we've got lots more and more here as well. So that's interesting. There's quite a few. Not sure, maybe if some of the square units are the enemy as well, the SS, but you never know. I'll have to just look at that a bit better. That I remember those from Pavlov's house with those signalers. It's always very frustrating to try and get the signalers working in Pavlov's house, I find. And then we have these one-sided cards: clearing phase, defense phase actions, defense phase moving and attributes, and enemy phase. So quite small writing, or it might be just a bit dark in here. Might turn the light on, I think, here. Hopefully it doesn't change very much for you guys, unless it was a bit of a problem. More of the QBs, different dice. So 4 standard reds and then 2 blacks, which are, oh, interesting. One goes from 1 to 6 and the other one goes 7 to 12. So it'll be interesting how that works. And 2 packs as well. Got the tactics, and then attack 2, presumably there's an attack 1, so it's the different phases. Might even be a 3rd phase. But I won't go bore you with going through that at the moment. So there's your unboxing, which I wasn't expecting, because this just happened to arrive this morning. I had expected it, certainly. One thing I did see was I saw a Twitter feed from a game company, game store company in the UK offering soldiers in postman's uniform, and I thought, well, hang on, that's a bit rich. I'm a Kickstarter person, and they're in the UK, and I'm in the UK. So why the hell? But it has arrived, so okay, I'll cease grumbling on that. So where we got the chat? Sorry, Peter, we got sort of expansion from this War of Mine. The game store this way. Did not buy it yet. Yeah, this War of Mine. It's right behind me, actually. It's just here, even within reach. Which I played with a friend of mine co-op a few weeks back. It was before the first chat, I think, and haven't touched it since. But I do like the game. Everybody says it's depressing, and I suppose it is depressing, but it is. It's very interesting. I find it very interesting. You got both on order. Would that be? What are we talking on? The this War of Mine stuff, or the NBN Poo stuff, or the Soldiers and Postmen's Uniform stuff? I'm losing track. So and yeah, it's just beyond me. Jesse, nothing like killing your own units with a grenade attack was caused by you doing your own grenade attack. Indeed, especially when the grenade missed as well. Yeah, I was. I'd almost class that as skill. Yeah, there's a certain skill there. I think there's a certain skill, and you may take pride in that a little bit. Fields of Fire, the Black Adder version. Yeah, no, it's not a bad statement. Not a bad statement. Yeah. Works miracles on your self-esteem. I don't know. It's all a bit of fun, isn't it? Anyway, solid games. Well, as I say, all I've done is Pavlov's House on Steam. I'd say I'm not a great fan of video versions of games, computerized versions of the games. Anyway, but I'll get the real Pavlov's House, and I'll be able to compare anyway. But that's all I got. So it'll be interesting to delve into these anyway, and they will fill on my table, which is kind of an advantage for these ones anyway. A little bit like this War of Mine, that just about fits. I'll show you the table anyway. I've got something out to show you. Anyway. Complain about his favourite publisher. Well, he complains about the rules anyway, so certainly on this. Yeah, cool. So yeah, unboxing over. Yeah, probably bored you. Almost bored myself actually. No, not really. And so let's move on to what else. What else I've been doing. So yeah, keep coming with what you guys been doing. As I say, we got the Denby Poo, we got the Red Sash games, the Austrian Succession naval game. Can't remember what you call. I'll have to go back up there. Let's go up the. Oh, we had the Sisu as well, which is interesting from Red Sash Games. Seems to be a favourite Red Sash Games these days. Absolute War and what was it called? Mistral. That was it. Mistral. Okay. Yeah, I can see where that comes from. Right, where were we? You've just lost your first survivor, Kyle. Yeah, well, yeah, another one will come along, I'm sure. I think it's very difficult to come through with your 3 survivors on this war of mine. Sorry if people don't know the game, but you start with 3, could go to 4, but you need somebody to survive throughout the whole game to win. And yeah, getting all 3 is probably a little bit much to ask. Defending America. Okay. Oh, that's the sort of long-range German bomber thing to America. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's not my thing. Just not my thing. That's sort of. I think that's being a little bit too on the fantasy side. Not that I'm against fantasy, but just doesn't float my boat. Anyway, Magnus, you got to go. Not a problem. Hopefully see you tomorrow night for the OSG Napoleon against Russia, Shevardino. Be nice to see you if you can make it. But thanks for popping in and having a chat. That's brilliant. Learning ASL starter kit. Okay, interesting enough. So one of my first games was Squad Leader. Probably my first major game was Squad Leader. It's sort of hex and counter game. It certainly was Squad Leader, along with Luftwaffe. Loved Squad Leader. Still, well, actually, a mate of mine's got it. I got my copy, and I got the expansions as well. GI, Anvil of Victory, Crescent of Doom, Cross of Iron, all that kind of stuff. Display it. And in fact, I've said this in a couple of interviews I've done, is that there was 2 things that kept me sane when I was at boarding school when I was younger, because I absolutely detested it. 2 things was Squad Leader and Genesis music. So, so very soft spot for Squad Leader. ASL, I jumped into that mid-80s when it first came out. Got the Beyond Valor, got the rule book, got the Beyond Valor. Germans and Russians got the Yanks for the Americans. Got the Hollow Legions, and we got the, can't remember the Commonwealth one was done, original Commonwealth one. No, can't remember it. So did get that, and I still have them, and they're sitting in the cupboard somewhere, kind of that way. Haven't seen them for ages. Haven't got back to it. Don't know why really. I think the final analysis, I found Squad Leader a lot more soloable than ASL, and I didn't have anybody to play ASL with. And when I did, it was kind of that competition game kind of feeling. ASL became a kind of tournament. You wanted to play with somebody, it was almost sort of tournament level, and so I didn't find that enjoyable either. So I kind of moved away. And I haven't been back. But the start kit, I don't know anything about the start kit. So as I say, the last thing I bought was the Hollow Legions, I think, which must have been still in the 80s, or maybe, yeah, probably late 80s, I think. So I haven't been there for a very long time. You got some OSG games. Interesting. Okay. I've got a few myself. Very much into sort of Napoleonic Bay, Napoleon at Bay system, like that. It's not very streamable, shall we say. There's not many counters, and they're all mostly hidden most of the time anyway. That might be the case for this one. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, OSG. yeah, good stuff on that. Played Struggle of Nations, which was the 1813 campaign with the tiny hexes and the rectangular counters. There was an Avalon Hill game of the same system. Played that quite a few times when I was at university, actually. Yeah, quite enjoyed that as well. Yeah, so interesting. We'll see what it's like anyway. JV actually just got Red Storm. Okay. You can solo it. Yeah, well, there's two levels of soloing, of course. There's soloing it by just forgetting some of the rules and just playing it both sides. So you get rid of the fog of war stuff and you just go through and do your thing. Because you sequence with the initiative chits, you go one side goes, the other side goes, kind of thing. So it's, you know, there's a certain randomness on how things move. And then there's the pure solo, so which I've been doing very slowly. I must admit, I've been doing one of the solo stuff. I haven't really got very far since the last chat, but we'll go through it in a little while. But yeah, good news. Got Red Storm, indeed. Being somebody who's going through the system as well is Wayne Hansen on his channel, and so I've been tuning in on that, watching that a bit, chucking a few suggestions at him when he's got questions. But yeah, so check that out as well. Yeah, Gregory Smith game. Yes, so I got a Gregory Smith game, which was Night Fighter Ace. Got it a couple of years, well, probably 3 years ago now, actually. And that genre of game is not for me. I personally found it quite tedious in that I had very little decision making, and the game kind of played itself, and I just crossed fingers really while things were going on. So I've kind of avoided those games precisely for that reason. It really didn't go with me at all. Ended up selling it. So there's there's a lot of derivatives, and I know there's other sort of submarine games as well, which are very, very, very similar. But I don't like the sort of lots of tables, look up, see what happens, see what happens, see what happens kind of thing, and just sort of almost trust the game to run things. It's not my thing. On the solo side, I much prefer games which kind of get me to have to do things or manage things, which I don't see those games doing. But it's just my opinion. Everybody's a lot of people seem to enjoy those games. Go for it, absolutely. Not dissing it, but it's just not for me. Doesn't kind of work with me. That's all. You're clipping your old squad leader game right now. Ooh, okay, yeah. My old squad leader version. Yeah, I did try some experimental clipping with some of that a very long time ago. I had it at school, and yeah, which and I must admit the counter cutting was not brilliant. Some of it was offline and things like that. So I tried to improve things, and I don't think I succeeded. I think I made things a lot worse, and not that I ruined anything, but some of the bits, you have that classic sort of octagonal counters where the corners have just been cut too much. There's a little bit of that on there, but I was trying to come up with things that I could clip with, which I didn't really have very much to work with. So kind of a nail clippers. I don't know. Closing the door on them. I don't know what the hell I did. So yeah, burn them, whatever. Cinch them. Can't really remember, but yeah, I think I did. I didn't do a great job. So be careful with those. But clipping your old squad leader, so only just to this case. So you come to clipping a bit late in your gaming career, Mr. Vogt. ASL compulsive behaviour. Now that doesn't sound very good. But you've got ASL compulsive behaviour. Sounds like one for Wargamers Anonymous. You know, hi everybody. Yeah, my name's Peter, and I've got ASL compulsive behaviour. It's that. Yeah, it was counting up. Yeah, you just see random numbers and start counting up firepower factors or something like that. And yeah, DRMs when you look outside in the countryside and you go, right, whoa, that's really good for a +2 DRM or something. I don't know. I don't know what ASL compulsive behaviour would actually look like. It's probably something you'd need to maybe ring the emergency services about sometimes. Patrick, you're breaking out Red Storm as well. What? Oh my God, what's happened with this game? Suddenly it's become much more popular. It did seem to be, when its debut, when it came out, it did seem to be quite quiet. There was a lot of, I think it came out sort of very sort of Imperial struggle time, and nobody really talked about it. And I thought, oh, this looks really cool. I'll go with that because I had Elusive Victory. And I thought, yeah, 1985s. So again, I'm not a big mid-80s wargame, hypothetical wargame fan either, but I thought, yeah, no, this would be good to see this sort of with the Elusive Victory. You get the F4s and the MiG-21s, but you don't really go beyond that. Whereas you get all the sort of different NATO ones and the MiG-29s and the F-15s and all that kind of stuff. It's been A-10s they've got just happen to be hanging around here. These Red Storm cards. If you've got Red Storm, these cards, and I haven't to hand got where you get that from. There's a somewhere you can buy them for. You can buy the Elusive Victories ones as well. They are really quite handy actually. These cards. I'll show you them here. They're basically air data cards, which is a line on a matrix on a player aid card in the game. And they also include the SAMs as well. It's interesting. So you don't need that player aid card, and you just need the certain. You know what you're going to need. So they're really quite convenient as well. So yeah, do recommend those. They're not that expensive. Can't remember where I was. I have to look it up. Maybe I might stick it in as a comment after this, or maybe in the description afterwards if I can remember where the hell it was. It'd be somewhere on my email system, and of course if I can remember to do it, because mind like a sieve. There you go. Michael, yeah, the tournament side, it was a little bit fraught. The atmosphere was a little bit. There's a certain tension there with ASL play, which I didn't quite enjoy. Enjoyed the game, didn't quite enjoy the tension. Just me. Do I recommend ordering P500 to ship to the UK? Yes. But still I order direct to GMT, and it comes through Second Chance Games. So I don't order it from Second Chance Games and it gets referred back to GMT. I go to GMT to the P500 page and do that. Always been fine. You know how much it's going to be. There is a delay, of course. As I said, the GMT sale was early August now. It's now into September. I haven't seen anything yet. You get that delay, unfortunately. Only once did I ever have a problem, and that was because I ordered Operation Dauntless, I think, which was the Red Winter system, Normandy game, sort of Grand Tactical scale, I think. And it didn't arrive. Just didn't arrive. And sort of rang them up and said, well, "Where's my game?" Because you wait for that time. You wait for the sort of the hour, the month, maybe 6 weeks or something like that. I think it got to about 8 weeks, and I went, well, "What the hell's happening?" Also, I'd ordered it with another game, which was Gallipoli, which I'll be getting to in a little while. Be getting to a lot of things, isn't it? And that arrived, but Dauntless didn't. I think that's the case. It's mists of time, that kind of thing. It didn't arrive. Rang them up, and they went, "Oh yeah, sorry, forgot to ship yours." I was like, "Oh cool." And they said, "Well, we can give you money back, or we can ship it." And I went, "To be honest, I've got enough to be going on with, so I cancelled it." But that's the only issue I've had with P500 myself, and ordering direct. It's the way to go, I think. I think the big problem is that you order too much. Because you don't pay for it immediately. Just like, oh yeah, 70 quid, or 60 quid, yeah, that'll be fine. There's $70 dollars, excuse me, $70, $60, yeah, you get a $20 discount, $25 discount, yeah, oh yeah, I'm interested in that. And then and then it slowly works itself through. So you know, and what I tend to find is that games I've ordered over a period of time, you know, pre-ordered, quite often they all land in a big lump. And firstly, my other half goes, "Did you buy all those?" And it was like, "Yeah, I did, but over a 2-year period." You know, okay, there's like 8 games all appear at once. Yeah, oh God, how does that look? That's another consequence of P500. They just seem to come out together, and just kind of looks bad in the household stakes, shall we say? Yeah, the counters are worse than you remember. But yeah, getting rid of the dog ears. I think that's I was frustrated. Some of them were like huge. It looked like, you know, some of the counters were like Mickey Mouse. They're like two big kind of, because I think they were attached at the top of the counter on the sprue far more than the bottom. As you remember, the bottoms weren't, but at the tops you ended up with these two sort of kind of Mickey Mouse ears, these sort of frayed things. You know, yeah, okay, could have used scissors and stuff like that, but and I probably did, but yeah, when you're about 12, you're just kind of playing, you know, don't care, just play, thing. You never clip, Brun. You've never clipped counters. Well, there you go. It's not for everybody, and yeah, if it works for you, it works for you. Absolutely. I do like doing it, but I don't normally get. I do this occasionally, but normally, and it's only usually if I do it, it's for a small game. I don't get a game and go, right, clip everything. You know, I have to clip everything and bag everything. I don't do that at all. I just go, okay, starting scenarios I want to work on and stuff, like punch those, clip those, leave everything else on the sprues if you can. Lately with some of the games, they just kind of explode. With Fields of Fire 2 was like that. You looked at the box and you could hear the counters just exploding off the sprues inside the box before you even actually open the box. It's just amazing, that thing. You know, you just pull the box off and like the suction just pulled out a load of counters. It was, and went everywhere. It's just amazing, that particular game with that. And there's a lot of counters in that game. This is the main thing I remember about Fields of Fire 2 when it arrived. The counters everywhere. Compulsive game shelving disorder. That's an interesting one. Yeah. Sort of shelf of shaming thing, which I'm an absolute sufferer. Absolutely. So I've got a load here, still getting a load more coming in. As I said, I still got the GMT sale. I think I got 4 games in the GMT sale. Panzer's Last Stand, these 2 have just arrived. There's Pavlov's House still to come. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of others. The latest version of John and Company, I think, is in the works, as well as, what was it? The new Gettysburg and Luttmann one. I've ordered that one. The Mortal Besieged one. So God knows, you know, still I do need to do a bit of a clear out. Do need to sell a few things as well to make room, because I'm running out of space. You probably can't see it, but below that shelf behind me, there's actually one of those DVG sort of rucksack things, which I took when I played my friend a few weeks ago, and it's still full. I haven't been able to put it back on the shelf because there's no room. So yeah, something's got to give. In the famous last words. Crossing obstacles. Yeah, great to see you. Thank you for popping in to have a chat. ASL, 2 grown men against a rulebook. I think it's a rulebook against 2 grown men, actually. The rulebook wins out. But yeah, there's a certain courtroom drama that appears, I think, with ASL. It's sort of flip. But 25.2.3.4 says, you know, you're if you do this, I can go outside and let your tyres down, or something like that. You know, there is a certain legal aspect to the experience, I think. So I've left it along that. I should really sell my old ASL, because I'm almost certainly not going back. Although you never know. you never know. Anyway, but it's sitting in a cupboard, out of sight really at the moment, and it's all over the place as well. It's not like I bagged it up and things like that. Again, this is a very long time. It's mid-80s. I was still at school when it appeared. Anyway, where are we? Right. Well, anyway, let's see what else I'm doing here. Let's go with that, shall we? So, right. So first I told you about. Well, you might have seen the solo live stream of the first bit I've been doing on Pericles. So this is a game, a 4-player game on Vassal, which I've been doing the past couple of weeks. Slow going because we're learning on it, but let's see if I can pop this up. I think I will just move me to the side. Ow, ooh, ow, ooh, ooh. Yeah, just don't bang your head against the edge of the screen. And there we go. So let's see if we can I expand that a little bit while still keeping myself squeezed in. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. So yeah. So this is the Vassal version of Oswald. I'm if you don't know the game, it's kind of like a 2 versus 2, but 4 versus, or 4-player, but 2 versus 2, but not. It's a little confusing. So you've got Athens versus Sparta, Peloponnesian War. You've got the 2 sides, but there's 2 players on each side, and only 1 player can win. There can be only 1 winner. And so half of a turn you're fighting with your compatriot, and then for the second half of the turn you're fighting with your compatriot against the opponents. So there's not really an alliance thing. It's kind of fixed that. There's no point in doing deals with the other side, really, or not that I've come across. It's more about doing deals with your compatriot so that you don't end up cancelling each other out, which it can happen here. So we're on the first turn, and you just running through it quickly. We've got this is known as an Aristophanes card, which is your random events, and that's allowed ostracism to be an issue for the game turn. Ostracism is all about, as you can imagine, you debate whether to tell somebody to get lost from the assembly. And so I'm in the opposition in Sparta. I'm known as the Eurypontids, so I've got the ostracism on my side, and we have to debate. And hopefully if I win the ostracism, doesn't matter what else happens in the assembly, I kind of win the assembly. I get the honour of winning the assembly by telling my opponent that he has to just bugger off, basically. Nobody wants to hear from him. On top of that, it's given us what's known as a will of the assembly, which is kind of like a forced event or a forced focus for each side. And this is in the try and pronounce this. I think it's the Chalcidiki theatre, which on the board is where these little markers are here. And we've basically got to fight over it, and we get honour points on our side. Or we lose honour points. So it's like it's not I just gain, it's like I gain, you lose kind of thing on each side. So that's going to be the focus for the turn. We just started the debates. The Athenians just debated a military issue. So these issues turn into actions on the board, to actually do on the board here on the map. And they just drew, which is brilliant, because if the issue ends up in neutral, as in neither side wears it, you've got this kind of chart here that goes 0 in the middle, and then aristocrat one way, that's one of the players, and then demagogue the other way. They ended up cancelling each other out. They debated and they got a draw, which means it stays in the middle. Brilliant. If an issue stays in the middle, it doesn't appear in the game. It just dies. Nobody does anything. So for a military to just hang about and not do anything is great. There's only 6 debates on each side. We're doing a debate here on military as well. I've got this card, which is a 4 plus 1, because it's a military issue, it's a 5. So I'm bidding 5 for that. And we don't know what my opponent, the Aegiads, have yet. He hasn't revealed yet. So that's then. And then we'll be on to a second issue on each side. I'll be picking this time the Agyads, they're the leaders at the moment in Sparta. He picked that issue. This turn, I get to pick the next one. We do 3 each side, and then that's it, done. So that's where we are on that. So very early in the game, and we need to focus on this Chalkidiki area here to get some decent honour. And that's Pericles. I don't know if you guys have done much on Pericles. Interesting game, quite intimidating actually. It's very much of that game, very much of a what the hell do I do type of game. I don't really know how I get to the place where I would say I was winning. So yes. Anyway, we're still Pericles, good looking game. Yeah. Yeah, it looks good. It is quite difficult. If you know Churchill, it's kind of related to Churchill. Very similar parts of the system, but the dynamics are completely different. In that it's not your one versus, there's 3 people against each other. You've got these teams, these pseudo teams, and it's very odd to you've got a kind of split personality thing that you hate your buddy, but then the second part of the game you love your buddy and you're working together, and then you go back to hating, and it just quite odd actually, but interesting. I think I'm enjoying it so far. Still on ASL. We start talking about ASL, everybody just buggers off and starts talking about ASL. Then, hi Pericles here, there, kind of, no, there. That's it. Can't get my perspective right. Yeah, Pericles, guys. ASL, no. No, you just carry on. Don't worry about me. Just ignore me. I'm wittering away on the screen, in the corner of the screen. In fact, yeah, just through this little bit here, this little window here. So what next? So, what have I got next to show you? So that was Pericles. Then, yeah. So this is my Red Storm, which I've been doing here, which I don't know if you watched the last one, but we've got this solo mission, so it's meant for solo play, and it's we got the allies. We've got 2 bombing groups. One is a set of F5 Canadian F5s, yeah, bombers. I know, it's what you roll, and the others are American A7 Corsairs. So yeah, this is southern Germany. What the hell are Corsairs doing out here? Navy planes, I thought, but there you go. So we've got those 2 guys, and they've been preceded with a SEAD, which is here he is here, which is a Wild Weasel, which is trying to blow up some SAM sites before the bombers get there. And then there's these 2 rather strange missions here. We've got an A10 Thunderbolt, which is not armed with anything except for guns, and he's going around trying to spot these armoured and mech units for bombing. And there's another one here which is a German F4 Phantom, which is doing the same thing. They're all on the deck running around like blazes trying to avoid being shot down, and just doing this. It's not known as fast forward air controller, so they're basically spotter planes. We're doing that. I haven't done it very much since the last chat, so I think I've done a movement phase and that's about it. But it's going okay. I haven't had anybody shot down yet, so that's it. So that's it there. But as you can see, it's not a big scenario. This big red playing area. So it's the corner of the map. It's quite concentrated, yeah. I know it is. The system is quite intimidating, I think. But once you're in it, it is fairly straightforward. It only gets complex again if you've got some very detailed, sort of high-tech weaponry, things like electro-optic guided bombs and stuff like that. Different bombing techniques and stuff. Then it kind of gets more complex again. But once you've got the basic rhythm of the game, check out my live streams with Jordan on Elusive Victory. Identical system, pretty much identical system. There's not a huge amount of difference between the two. So yeah. Yeah, but this crossing, you're right, but this A10 is going around just spotting things. And as you know, he's not the fastest thing in the world as well. So he's getting a lot of attention while doing it. So it was just on the dice roll. It was not likely to be an A10, but I just rolled low and it happened to be an A10. There you go. But that's where we are with Red Storm at the moment. It's I delayed the A7, so I put the F5s coming early, and they're just about getting onto their bombing runs here. The X's are things that I spotted as targets. These are heavy damage markers, which this is the damage that the SEAD flight, the Wild Weasel, has done. It launched HARM anti-radiation missiles and just basically knocked out for this as far as the scenario goes. These two SAM sites. He's got one missile. He missed with one. He's got one missile left on his flight. So to pick the target carefully. Next, we have our Gallipoli game. So went through a little bit in our last chat here. So this has moved on a bit. We're on to the next turn. So I think we're on to 8 to 10 a.m. So it's turn 3. Yeah, I think it's turn 3. So I'm the Anzacs here. This is Anzac Cove here. Let me just go further. Yeah, this is Anzac Cove here, and the orange counters are the Australians, 1st Australian Division so far, and we've had 2 brigades in. 3rd Australian Brigade, which landed initially, then 2nd Australian Brigade, which landed behind. 3rd Australian Brigade didn't do very well. Got rid of a couple of pickets, failed to get rid of others, took a lot of casualties, and lost a lot of what currency there is in the game, which is known as officer points. So when you go to roll to assault a hex, you lose officer points. When you take a loss, you lose officer points, and you only have a finite amount. And while you're attacking, you don't really get them back. And as it's happened in 2 turns, the 3rd Australian Brigade has run out of officer points completely. They failed their orders, which actually was to get kind of up on this ridge, and actually, would you believe, down here as well. Got nowhere near it, and they're now on a different automatic order, which is known as stalled attack. So they're, and that automatically fails to what an order known as disorganized defense, and the orders really restrict on where you can go and what you can do. So effectively, they're just consolidating, and it's these purple guys. I don't know if I've got the have I got the dead pile? Not sure. Maybe not. Yeah, I can't find it, but there's a lot of purple there. And then we got the 2nd Australian Brigade, which just landed last turn. Pegged up the slopes here, try and take out these 2 pickets. They're pickets, as in they're effectively a squad or a platoon. It's not very many men here. Ran up the slopes, got shot a bit, and pretty much they just stopped moving. They just didn't go in for the kill, so they fell short. So the Turks still have this slope here at the start, the first part of the high part of the slope. We're trying to get up here. The Reds are the 2nd Australian Brigade. We're supposed to get up to here, and there's just absolutely no chance. Haven't lost any officer points because we didn't even get round to doing assault, and they were just confused rather than step losses. Confused it like a morale state, but it does mean that you don't assault anymore. So they're a bit stuck. And I've got this is 1st Australian Brigade, which is just about to land, and that's all I've got to do left in this game turn. I've moved the other 2 brigades, just got that one left. Turks, meanwhile, which are the Greens, we have a regiment here, which was around here and activated very quickly, has got here, and he may be doing an attack this way, which is going to be a bit of a problem. And here in column, we have the 57th Regiment, which is Kemal's, Ataturk's lot. So when they get there, it's probably going to get to occupy the high ground, and then, well, he's going to probably fly at me. With pretty high morale troops there. And there's these annoying squadrons of cavalry, which had been sent forward as well. Popping down, this is not my area, so I take no blame for any of this. We're still stuck on the beaches here at Hellas. X Beach completely failed. S Beach has done really well, and even managed to, because they land without any particular order, so they've managed to actually sort out an order here, and they're actually moving inland. These are coastal artillery batteries, so they're looking to do something about that. So that's pretty good. And Y Beach, which is an early beach, lands doing okay, but it's kind of like hanging. There's not really a lot they can do up there. All the big stuff is coming in down here, and it's stuck on the beach. That confused marker has a British machine gun squad section has moved forward, but that's all. Everything else is stuck on the beach. And that's Gallipoli. So there we are for that. Moving on, my Stellar Horizons game. Let's just pop back to the chat and see what's going on. Sorry, yeah, it's alright, I'm just kidding. You can talk about ASL if you like. Mostly painting miniatures now, okay. I'm not a miniatures person. Absolutely not a miniatures person. It just doesn't go for me. I've been saying a lot of things don't go for me. What do we do? It's like Gregory and Smith games, miniatures now. What was the other thing? At the start, can't remember. But I've been basically dissing loads of things this time, so especially what you're talking about. So there you go. How good are the weasels and spotting and destroying the SA2? The SA2s. The SA2s are the old high altitude ones. I was using those in Elusive Victory. They're bloody useless anyway. So even if they do get to launch, the weasels much more interested in things like SA11s. And 13s, the infrared homing SAMs and stuff like that. So yeah, SA8s, 8s and 11s mainly is what they're. So that's what the weasels are going at. I say 3 shots, 2 hits. Seems all right to me. So yeah. Anyway, back to where we were. We have Stellar Horizons Compass game here. Been playing for a little while. We are now on to 2051. You start in 2030. We're on 2051, so you know, but it does go on for into the 2100s. So don't worry, we're still fairly early in the game, but we have progressed a bit. I'm the Asians, which is kind of a Indian, Pakistani, Vietnamese kind of Malaysian kind of conglomerate as a space policy. I think I'm doing quite well. I have a base in orbit, this guy here. I even have a base now on the moon, and I'm the only one to have one. There's only one other person who has a base in the game. That's the Russians, and they have one in orbit. Nobody else has one. The Japanese don't even actually have the ability to actually build one yet. That buy marker should have gone by now. So yeah, we're so I think I'm doing well. I just mined a hell of a load of hematite iron off the moon, and use that to build a much more higher function crew vehicle, which is over here, the Gujarat, which is very good. The 6 is its explore value. The 3 is its combat value, so it can fight if necessary. And we have a pirate here that appeared this turn. So actually there's a kind of mad scramble between myself and the Chinese on who can get to the pirate first to do him in, because you get points for that. I think I'm going to win because I've got initiative. Yeah, but that's going to be a fight for next turn. And that's it. There is a base here, but that's actually a South American base, which is a non-player. So it's not actually one of the people. The other players, China, Russia, and Japan are the 4 players here. One disappointment is Venus. So Venus, I have, if I open my hopefully there we go. Comes up on the screen here. Let's zoom in a bit. So Venus. So we have things called missions. So if you do a mission, you get a lot of bonuses. And I've got a mission to actually go to Venus. Now, going to Venus is one thing, but actually discovering something significant is what you need to do. So the entirety of the decade before now, I have been throwing orbiters and probes at Venus, and I completely failed to find anything significant. And it's really annoying. I spent a hell of a lot of money and nothing came through. More annoying is, of course, the Russians just turned up this turn with a probe, landed it. Oh look, got some significant stuff. We found some ridge terrain with rocky ridge terrain. That's interesting. Really annoying, really irritating. I couldn't find anything significant in a decade, and I'm still trying. I've still stuck with that mission, because it's actually quite a good mission because it's close by. You could end up with something like Pluto. What the hell in 2051? How the hell are you going to do that? Especially to the Asians. So it's a good mission. I just can't succeed in it. It's really, really annoying. Like the look of Mons. I like the look of Mons. Don't like the P500 numbers though. It's kind of stalled. It's about the 300 level, and there's a lot of. Obviously, a lot of effort being put into by GMT for things like inside GMT articles. There, Gregory Phipps, who's the designer, has done some videos, but that number isn't moving very fast. So I like the look of it, but I don't like the look of the number or the performance of the number so far. But yeah, that's the next game is Mons. Mons the Mad Minute, I think it's called. Same system, and we're actually using the rules of Mons for our Gallipoli game. So we're actually, if you like, play testing the version 2 of the rules, which is a lot better. Actually, a lot better. It is an improvement. It clears up a lot of stuff, gets rid of a load of Chrome, which really wasn't. It added a lot of work and added very, very little game. The game enjoyment really. So, a video, Eric. Hi, Eric. A video game of which game? Sorry, I'm lost. Let me know. Can you expand on that a little bit? So that's my Stellar Horizons. Enjoying it. It's no high frontier. It's not that sophisticated, but it is quite fun, quite interesting, and it's a great thing to get a base somewhere and getting a mining station and all this kind of stuff. It's quite nice, and it's not that sort of sci-fi fantastic stuff. It's kind of grounded. It is grounded. But that's Stellar Horizons anyway. Quite recommend it. It's quite expensive, quite a big box as well, and if you actually put it out on the table, it takes up half your house. But actually on Vassal, it's manageable. So what else have we been doing? Okay, so this is... I zoomed right in here. So, I've zoomed very in here. So, what was it? Must have been about March, I think. I used to be into TCS. Don't have a lot of the games anymore. I've got Omaha the Bloody Beach, which I've been eyeing of trying to do something with, actually. Because it's very soloable. If you imagine, the Germans are just there to fire. So it's quite a soloable TCS. And I got the Ariete, but I haven't done much with it. It was actually one of the few games I actually clipped immediately, because it's not. It was like counter, 1.5 counter sheets. That's all. If that maybe it might have been just one. But I haven't done anything with. But I used to have a copy of Metanikau, which is the Guadalcanal TCS. And I happened to see at the Second Chance Games they had a copy going cheap. It said it was damaged, but it didn't really go into too much detail. And it was something like £12. So I thought, well, what's not to like? So I grabbed hold of it. It's water damaged, as in the moisture has got in, particularly the counters. A lot of counters are split. and I've been doing a lot of work with glue, trying to glue the layers back and sort of press down the counters, get the counters repressed, because the layers just start to come away, and the top, sort of the surface of the counter just pops off. It just falls off. But anyway, seeing as I've got it now, gone to Vassal, and yeah, this is known as Kelly's Heroes. This is a little scenario. Just started it. Got a lot of stuff, haven't I? A lot of stuff where everything, a lot of stuff I've just started. Finishing it is the problem, really. So this is 7th Marines, 1st Battalion 7th Marines, being landed by Higgins boats in the midst of a whole load of protected Japanese, and the idea is for the Marines to actually clear this road or clear this hill, and they're massively outnumbered, and actually historically they had to be rescued. But yeah, just trying that out. They've just landed in this area here. The jungle is kind of shielding them, but they need to move on. There's two infantry battalions, and then there's the heavy weapons D. So it's A and B companies, and then D company is the heavy weapons, and that's their lot. The Japanese have a couple of companies here, and they've got another one down here as well, which is in reserve. So yeah, that's my tiny account, which I'm running through a little bit. And finally, the other thing to go through was what we're going to do tomorrow night, which is the Battle of Shevardino, Napoleon against Russia. So this is the setup for Shevardino, and literally we've had this plan for about 3 hours, and he's in the US, and I'm here, so the planning has got as far as me getting hold of the rule book. I think I've got where have I got the rule book? Yeah, I've got the rule book on my other screen, and yeah, that's all. This is the setup, and this is it. It's quite pretty, isn't it? Now I used to have a game on this of this system, which was 1813 Napoleon at Leipzig, which was a big game, whole battle, and it's not very complicated. It's a very simple game. Now, I must admit I didn't enjoy it that much, even though I'm very interested in the Battle of Leipzig. I didn't really enjoy the system too much. It has these what I call stuck Zocs. So if you go adjacent to an enemy, you're kind of locked together, and you have to fight each other every turn until somebody loses and runs away. You kind of, and you're constantly kind of manoeuvring to try and outflank, so that you can stick Zocs around a unit, and then when it has to run away, it dies. I must admit, it doesn't seem very Napoleonic to me. That's the thing that came to me. So, however, Jordan likes the system, and he's been playing a lot of games with me, where have been my suggestions. So, Elusive Victory, and 1914, etc. If you go back in our catalogue, you'll see. So I gave him the option this time, and he wanted to use that system, and then I chose the battle. So Shevardino. This is the day before Borodino. So Borodino is actually here, underneath. If I remove the counters, you can see Borodino in the middle of the screen here. Let's zoom in a little. You can see it there, and Shevardino is down here. But what it is that the initial positions of the Russians included Shevardino, and the French fought for it, and the Russians were eventually pushed off it, or they retreated back here. And so the line of the Battle of Borodino is kind of north-south on this line, with Borodino and Utitsi and can't remember the other place. So yeah, that's actually the line of the battle, whereas Shevardino kind of sticks out, and this is where Napoleon was trying to sort of nip off part of the Russian army and beat the crap out of it, which is what this game is about. So it's not a long game. It's not a long battle. It's a preliminary battle. So there you go. That's but we'll see tomorrow night. So it'll be a learning game for me. I kind of know the system for but a very long time ago. I'll get into it, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Haven't done Napoleonic stuff on the stream yet. Used to be big into Napoleonics. Got a lot of Labatai stuff. I say OSG, Napoleon at Bay, Eagles Turns East. Got that kind of stuff. So used to do a lot of Napoleonics. Just haven't done so for a long time. Not by design. Just I have a Napoleonic battle system, brigade series. Start again. Napoleonic Brigade series game, MMP game, gamers game from Asper and Esling, which I've never managed to play much with, which I would like to actually play with. But anyway, we're on this one. So nothing against Napoleonics. Really not Napoleonics. Just hasn't featured on the channel, but it will do now. So there you go. Reminder set. Good, Michael. Yeah, I'll see you there. I'll see you there. Right, last thing to show you is what I've actually got on the table. And for this, we'll need to shift things. So we are going to turn. There we go. It's my extra camera. So no expenses spared here on the channel. We've got really high tech. We have two cameras and we can use them both at the same time. It's like two, yeah, whatever. Anyway, let's. I'll just move over to that screen, to that camera. And what we've got here is the C3I, latest C3I, which is the Battle for Cursed. Tigers are burning. Hopefully you should be able to see me. Hello. There we go. Right here. So got a few turns into this. Turn 3 just starting. Rather an odd system. It on its face looks fairly straightforward. There's no stacking, attack and movement on here. Big hexes, not an amazing set of terrain. Looks fairly straightforward. However, it's got this thing called posture. There's a posture track here and here. So you decide every turn what kind of turn you're going to have, and there's four capabilities. There's pause, reposition, deploy, and engage. And the choice of that determines what kind of turn you have. So if you have a pause, with a pause you get a reinforcement phase and you don't get anything else. Nothing else. Can you guys still hear me? Probably a bit quiet. Let me see if I can point my and there goes my microphone. So that's wonderful. It was a nice try. Probably deafened a load of you there, but hopefully you guys can still hear me. Hello? Nope. Hello. Oh, you can still hear me. Sorry, just checking the levels here, and I couldn't see the level. They'd gone off the screen. Sorry about that. I just decided to wreck my my microphone stand. So always surprises on the channel here. So hopefully you can hear me. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit louder anyway. So we have these posture tracks here. So pause just gives you a reinforcement phase and nothing else in the turn. You can't do anything else in the turn. On a reposition, you get a normal movement phase and the reinforcement phase. When you do a pause, you get extra reinforcement points, so you get extra replacements. And interesting enough, when you start the game, pretty much the entire Soviet army is flipped. So they're at reduced strength. So the Soviets are very much interested in building strength up. So doing a lot of pausing at the start. So reposition is about movement. Deploy. I need to get this right. So deploy gives you both movement phases. So there's an armor rail movement phase, and then there's a standard movement phase, and then you get the reinforcement phase as well. But you lose 2 armor replacement points from your standard for the turn, so you get reduced replacements. And then finally engage, and engage is you get the entire turn, including the combat phase. So you don't actually fight until you get to engage, and that's only one of the 4 choices. So the turns are I wouldn't say truncated, but they are very different depending on what posture you chose. And you choose at the start of your game turn. Each side choose secretly. And of course, this is solo. So what the hell am I doing? Choosing. So one thing it does happen. This is the rule book that came inside the magazine. Is on the last page, but one. It actually gives you the designer's interpretation of which postures actually were done historically. And so as a solo, you can do that. So you can follow. And interestingly enough, the first 4 turn, you actually look at the turn track here. Turn 1 is actually here. A, B, C, and D are like these pre-turns. Turn 1 is the first sort of real turn, but you can do anything you like in these first 4 turns. But historically, the Russians actually did a pause for these 4 turns, and the Germans did a pause for the first 2 turns, and then did a reposition and deploy. They only engaged on turn 1, so that's really the Battle of Kursk is turn 1 here, but it's 2/3 of the way through the game. So it's interesting being tied to what you can do as a game turn by what was historical, and just seeing what you've got. So what have we got here? One thing I must do as I'm at the table, as is traditionally, otherwise what the hell am I doing, is looking at some tweezers here anyway. So I don't know how much you should be able to see all this. Yeah, so Kursk is here, and we've got the 2 bulges here, the Germans, and what's happened, the Kursk didn't get very far at all, and these turns are 2 weeks. Yeah, like 2 weekly turns. So quite a lot happens, and the Russians have pushed back. They've kind of broke through here, kind of broke through here, and kind of broke through here, and the Germans are trying to reposition to try and cover here as well. Interestingly, the combat results table. So you can hopefully see these fortification belts here. So what they do is they have the ability to convert retreat results into exchanges. So I thought that was interesting, because you'll get stuck and then exchange, but actually no. So in an exchange, attack and defender lose a step, but then the defending unit still retreats 2 hexes. So the combat results table seems very attacker friendly, because even on an exchange, even on a belt which forces an exchange, if you get a defender retreat and lose a step, which is a DRL, these are all retreats. There's only the NEs, no effects, and attacker losses, which are on the 1-to-1 and the 2-to-1, but they kind of disappear on the 3. So if you can get 3-to-1 or more, you seem to be able to cause retreats. So I think, well, not terrible odds attacks, but pretty ordinary odds attacks will get defences unhinged, even if you've got these fortification belts, which I don't know what to think about that. I've got to play through the game to see what I think about that, but that's certainly interesting take, and just something that sort of came to me. The last thing that was interesting, you have these offensive markers here. Germans have ones too, and you can use them so you get them as reinforcements. You can use them, you can plonk them on a hex, and when you attack with that unit, any unit next to that which is not next to the hex you're attacking is also added in. So you get this kind of backfield effect, and this is why these red Russians here, these are all different armies, or the color coded for the armies. So if you put an offensive marker here, you would attack, say, that hex with that and that, but you would also add that and that hex as well. So these offensive markers seem quite powerful. And that's it. I haven't done enough to really do very much more than that. There's a couple of things. Combat results table, posture, and these offensive markers seem to be the kind of different thing which this system brings. I think this is the second, and I think there's a previous game which used this. Can't remember what it's called. But yeah. Anyway, now I seem to have completely ruined my station, and my my microphone, forgive me, is kind of lying across my desk now. It's yeah. Let's just get yeah. I kind of here's my mic. It's supposed to be up there somewhere, and it's down here. So it was a good idea to try and stretch, but it was just a bit too much to for the grip. And yeah, right. Anyway, that's over an hour and a half. My voice is starting to go, and you guys are starting to go. Well, you should be starting to go. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for the OSG. We'll see how that turns out. And thanks for popping in, having a chat. Tell me what you think. I'll have a look at the Red Sash Games thing. Sounds interesting. And also at the DNBMQ, I'll take another look at as well. But thanks for everything. Thanks for popping in, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, ta-ta for now. Bye.